In the cold darkness of the Kuiper Belt, far beyond the orbit of Neptune, a small probe floated silently through the void. Its mission was simple: to map the icy debris field and search for anything unusual. Operated remotely by Daniel Carter, an astrophysicist known for his sharp mind and quiet determination, the probe had been scanning the region for months. Back on Earth, most people paid little attention to this routine exploration. But something strange caught Daniel's eye one evening as he reviewed the data. The probe's sensors had detected a faint energy signal coming from beneath a thick layer of ice and dust. At first, Daniel thought it might be a glitch or some natural phenomenon, but the readings were too consistent to ignore. He zoomed in on the images sent back by the probe and noticed something even more startling: a massive metallic shape, partially buried and glinting faintly under the dim light of distant stars. The object didn't look like any asteroid or comet he'd ever seen. It was artificial. Daniel immediately contacted Laura Bennett, the mission director overseeing the project. Laura was a no-nonsense woman with years of experience managing space missions. When she saw the images and readouts, her calm demeanor cracked just slightly. This could change everything," she said, her voice tinged with both excitement and unease. Together, they decided to assemble a team to investigate further. Ethan Cole, a historian who specialized in ancient civilizations, was brought in to help interpret what they might find. Ethan had spent years studying old myths and legends about advanced technology lost to time. When he saw the shape of the object, his eyes widened. "It looks familiar," he murmured, pointing to carvings etched into the metal surface. "These symbols, they're similar to ones I've seen in artifacts dating back thousands of years." The news spread quickly within the United Nations Space Command, the organization responsible for humanity's ventures into space. While some officials were intrigued, others felt a growing sense of dread. For decades, rumors had circulated about a powerful interstellar empire that ruled vast regions of the galaxy. This empire, led by Commander Victor Kane, viewed Earth as a minor nuisance at best and a potential threat at worst. If the empire learned about the discovery, there could be serious consequences. Despite these fears, preparations moved forward. A small crew, including Daniel, Ethan, and Samantha Hayes, a linguist skilled in deciphering unknown languages, boarded a spacecraft bound for the Kuiper Belt. Their journey would take weeks, during which tensions ran high. None of them knew exactly what they would find, or whether it was safe. As their ship approached the mysterious object, the crew couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Out in the blackness of space, tiny pinpricks of light appeared in the distance. At first, they thought it might be reflections off nearby ice particles, but then the lights began to move. They weren't alone. Back on Earth, Laura monitored the situation closely. Her instincts told her this discovery was monumental, but also dangerous. She ordered the crew to proceed cautiously, reminding them that the stakes were higher than anyone realized. Little did they know, the shadowy empire had already taken notice, and its leader, Victor Kane, was not someone who tolerated surprises. What lay ahead was unclear, but one thing was certain: the course of humanity's future was about to change forever. The crew's spacecraft approached the mysterious object slowly, its engines humming softly as they positioned themselves above the icy surface. Daniel Carter adjusted the controls with steady hands, his eyes fixed on the view screen. The metallic structure loomed larger now, its edges jagged and worn from centuries of exposure to the harsh environment of the Kuiper Belt. Samantha Hayes leaned forward in her seat, squinting at the faint inscriptions etched into the hull. "These symbols, they're incredible," she whispered, her voice filled with awe. "They look like nothing we've ever seen before." Ethan Cole nodded, his mind racing. He had spent years studying ancient human artifacts, but this was different. These markings weren't just decorative. They seemed to tell a story. "It's almost like a warning," Ethan said, tracing the shapes with his finger on a digital tablet. "Or maybe instructions." His words hung in the air, unanswered, as the team prepared to land. Once on the surface, the crew donned their suits and stepped out onto the icy terrain. The cold was biting, even through their heavily insulated gear. They moved carefully toward the massive ship, their boots crunching against the frozen crust beneath them. As they reached the entrance, Daniel noticed something unusual, a faint glow emanating from within. It wasn't natural light. It pulsed rhythmically, as if alive. "This thing is still operational," Daniel muttered, his voice tinged with disbelief. After all this time, he reached out cautiously, brushing away a layer of frost covering what appeared to be a control panel. To everyone's surprise, the panel lit up at his touch, bathing the area in a soft blue light. A low hum filled the air, growing louder as the ship began to stir. Moments later, a mechanical voice echoed around them, startling the crew. "Identity verification required," it said, calm but firm. Samantha froze, unsure how to respond. Before anyone could speak, Ethan stepped forward. "We're human," he said slowly, emphasizing each word. "This is our ship." There was a long pause, and then the voice replied, "Access granted." The doors slid open with a hiss, revealing a dimly lit interior that seemed impossibly vast. The crew exchanged nervous glances before stepping inside. The walls were lined with panels displaying strange symbols and diagrams, and the air smelled faintly of ozone. At the center of the chamber stood a glowing orb suspended in midair, pulsing gently. "Welcome," the orb said, its voice deeper now, almost soothing. "I am Orion, guardian of Aurora *. You have awakened me after many cycles." Daniel blinked, trying to process what he was hearing. "You're an I?" he asked hesitantly. "In a manner of speaking," Orion replied. "I was created to oversee this vessel and ensure its purpose is fulfilled. Tell me, why have you come?" Before Daniel could answer, alarms blared outside. The crew rushed back to the entrance and looked out to see a fleet of ships descending upon them. Sleek and menacing, they bore the emblem of the interstellar empire, a black sun encircled by a ring of fire. Commander Victor Kane's forces had arrived. "They must have tracked us here." Laura Bennett's voice crackled over the comms. She sounded tense but resolute. "Get out of there now." The crew didn't need to be told twice. With Orion's guidance, they scrambled back inside the ship. "Prepare for departure," Orion instructed, its tone urgent. "We are capable of defending ourselves, but time is critical." As the Imperial ships opened fire, Aurora roared to life. Its engines ignited with a deafening roar, shaking the ice around them. Daniel took the helm, guided by Orion's precise instructions. The ship lifted off the surface just as the first volley of enemy missiles struck, sending plumes of vaporized ice spiraling into space. "We're not going to make it," Samantha shouted, gripping her seat tightly as the ship shuddered under enemy fire. "Hold on," Daniel said through gritted teeth. With a sudden burst of speed, Aurora broke free of the Kuiper Belt, leaving the Imperial forces behind. For now, they were safe, but none of them doubted that this was only the beginning. Back on Earth, Laura watched the footage transmitted by the crew, her face pale. "They know about us now," she murmured. "And they won't stop until they destroy us, or take what we found." The discovery of Aurora had changed everything. But it had also made humanity a target. Inside the ship, which Orion referred to as Aurora *, the crew struggled to make sense of their situation. The vessel was enormous, far larger than anything humanity had ever built. Its corridors stretched endlessly, lined with panels displaying symbols and diagrams that Samantha Hayes worked tirelessly to decipher. "This isn't just a ship," she said, her voice filled with wonder. "It's like a library, a museum, maybe even a weapon." Ethan Cole nodded, his mind racing. He had spent his life studying ancient civilizations, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. These symbols, They're telling us something about the people who made this, he said, pointing to one of the panels. They were advanced, far more than we are now. But they weren't aliens. They were human. Daniel Carter, still adjusting to the idea that they were aboard a ship thousands of years old, focused on keeping Aurora operational. The controls were unfamiliar, but Orion guided him every step of the way. We need to understand how this ship works, Daniel said, his tone urgent. If the Empire comes after us again, we'll need to fight back. Orion, the AI core, proved invaluable. It explained that Aurora was part of a much larger fleet, scattered across the galaxy and hidden from view. The fleet was created during a time of great prosperity for humanity, Orion said, its voice calm but tinged with sadness. But betrayal fractured our unity. Some sought power over freedom, and the fleet was abandoned. Rachel Dawson, the team's engineer, inspected the ship's systems with growing excitement. "This thing is incredible," she said, running her hands over a panel that glowed faintly. "The technology is outdated by modern standards, but it's adaptable. If we can figure out how to integrate it with our own systems, we could make Aurora unstoppable." As the crew worked, Ethan uncovered more information about the fleet. Ancient records stored within Aurora revealed that the ships were designed not only for exploration, but also for defense. Each vessel carried weapons capable of leveling entire planets. "This fleet wasn't just meant to explore the stars," Ethan said grimly. "It was built to protect humanity from itself." The revelation weighed heavily on everyone. Humanity had once reached heights they could barely comprehend, only to fall into darkness. Now they had stumbled upon a piece of that lost legacy, and it came with a warning. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Laura Bennett coordinated efforts to prepare for the inevitable retaliation from Commander Victor Kane's forces. News of the fleet's existence had spread quickly, sparking both hope and fear. Resistance groups began reaching out, eager to join the fight against the Empire. "This changes everything," Laura told Jack Monroe, a rebel leader who had been fighting the Empire for years. "If we can reactivate more ships, we might stand a chance." Encouraged by Orion's guidance, the crew activated additional ships hidden within the Kuiper Belt. Each activation brought new challenges. Some ships were damaged beyond repair, their systems too degraded to function. Others required creative problem-solving from Rachel and her team to bring them online. "It's like piecing together a puzzle," Rachel said, sweat dripping down her face as she worked. "Every ship is different, but they all share the same core design." As more ships joined Aurora, the fleet began to take shape. The sight of the vessels rising from the ice was awe-inspiring, a testament to humanity's forgotten ingenuity. But with each success came new questions. Who had betrayed the fleet? And why? One night, as the crew gathered in Aurora central chamber, Ethan shared a troubling discovery. "The records mention a faction called the Dominion," he said, his voice low. "They wanted control over the fleet, and when they didn't get it, they turned against the others. That's why the fleet was abandoned." The room fell silent. The Dominion sounded eerily similar to the Empire that now ruled the galaxy. "History repeats itself," Samantha murmured, shaking her head. "We've been here before." Daniel clenched his fists. "Not this time," he said firmly. "We're not going to let history repeat itself. We'll use the fleet to end the Empire's reign. For good." But as the ships prepared to leave the Kuiper Belt, an uneasy feeling settled over the crew. They had awakened something powerful, something that could change the course of history. Whether it would save humanity or destroy it remained to be seen. News of the fleet's reawakening spread quickly, reaching every corner of Earth. For years, people had lived under the shadow of Commander Victor Kane's empire, enduring oppression and fear. But now, whispers of hope began to circulate. The idea that humanity once possessed such advanced technology, and that it could be used to fight back, ignited a spark in those who had long given up. Jack Monroe, a rebel leader known for his fiery speeches and unyielding determination, saw this as their chance. He traveled from one resistance cell to another, rallying fighters and spreading the word about the fleet. "This is our moment," he told crowds gathered in hidden bunkers and underground tunnels. "The Empire thinks we're weak, but they don't know what we found. We have the power to take back what's ours." Back aboard Aurora Daniel Carter and his crew worked tirelessly to prepare the fleet for battle. Each ship was unique, requiring careful adjustments to bring it fully online. Rachel Dawson, the engineer, spent hours crawling through tight spaces, repairing damaged systems, and rerouting power where needed. "It's like fixing an old car," she joked one day, though her face was streaked with grease and exhaustion. "Except this car can blow up planets." Orion, the AI core, provided constant guidance, its calm voice a steadying presence amidst the chaos. "You are doing well," it said to the crew during one of their late-night meetings. "But time is critical. The Empire will not wait." They didn't have to wait long. Victor Kane, furious at the loss of Aurora and aware of the growing rebellion on Earth, launched a propaganda campaign to discredit the fleet. His forces broadcast messages across the galaxy, portraying the ships as dangerous relics that threatened galactic stability. "These machines are weapons of destruction," he declared in one speech, his cold eyes staring into the camera. "They belong to a forgotten age, and they must be destroyed before they fall into the wrong hands." Despite his warnings, the fleet's existence inspired more people to join the resistance. Laura Bennett coordinated efforts from Earth, ensuring supplies and information reached the rebels. She knew they couldn't afford to waste this opportunity. "We need to strike first," she told Jack during a secure transmission. "Show them we're not afraid." The plan was bold. Use the fleet to cripple one of the Empire's key supply routes near Saturn's rings. If successful, it would cut off vital resources and weaken the Empire's grip on the solar system. Daniel led the operation, guiding the ships into position, while Ethan monitored communications to ensure they weren't walking into a trap. Samantha decoded intercepted messages, piecing together the Empire's movements. When the attack began, the fleet proved its worth. The ships moved with precision, their advanced technology outmatching the Empire's outdated vessels. Under Daniel's command, they executed maneuvers that seemed impossible, dodging enemy fire while delivering devastating blows. Rachel's modifications paid off. The fleet's weapons systems performed flawlessly, tearing through Imperial defenses. Victor Kane watched the battle unfold from his flagship, his jaw clenched in fury. "Destroy them," he barked at his officers. But no matter how hard they tried, the Empire's forces couldn't keep up. The fleet was too fast, too powerful. As the dust settled, the rebels celebrated their victory. The blockade was broken, and morale soared. On Earth, crowds cheered as footage of the battle played on screens. For the first time in decades, people dared to believe that freedom was possible. But Daniel knew better than to celebrate too soon. The Empire wasn't defeated, it was wounded. And a wounded beast was always the most dangerous. As the fleet regrouped, he looked out at the stars, his mind racing. They had won this round, but the war was far from over. As the fleet expanded, so did the mystery surrounding it. Each new ship brought fragments of information, piecing together a story that both amazed and troubled the crew. Ethan Cole spent hours poring over ancient records stored within Aurora archives. The more he uncovered, the clearer it became that the fleet wasn't just a tool for exploration or defense. It was also a safeguard, a last line of protection against humanity's worst impulses. One day, while studying a series of encrypted files, Ethan stumbled upon something startling. This changes everything," he said, his voice trembling as he called the others to the central chamber. On the screen in front of him was a diagram labeled Genesis Protocol. Beneath it were instructions for resetting entire planetary ecosystems. The process would cleanse the atmosphere, restore balance to damaged environments, and make worlds habitable again, but at a terrible cost. Every living thing on the targeted planet would be wiped out. Samantha Hayes leaned closer, her brow furrowed. "It's like starting over," she whispered. "But why would they build something like this?" Ethan sighed heavily. "Because they saw what humanity could become," he replied. "They knew we'd destroy ourselves if left unchecked. This protocol was their way of ensuring survival, even if it meant sacrificing part of the galaxy." The revelation weighed heavily on everyone. Daniel Carter stared at the screen, his mind racing. If the Genesis Protocol was real, it gave them unimaginable power. But using it would mean crossing a moral line none of them were sure they could come back from. Meanwhile, Laura Bennett faced growing pressure on Earth. The rebellion had gained momentum, but not everyone trusted the fleet. Some feared its technology could be turned against them, just as Victor Kane had warned. Others worried about the crew's intentions. Were they liberators or conquerors? To ease tensions, Laura arranged public broadcasts showing the fleet's progress. Jack Monroe delivered speeches emphasizing unity, urging people to focus on the Empire as their true enemy. "We're fighting for freedom," he said during one address. "Not revenge, not destruction. Freedom." Back aboard the ships, Rachel Dawson continued fine-tuning the fleet's systems. Each vessel revealed new capabilities, some of which even Orion struggled to explain. "These technologies are beyond my original programming," the AI admitted. "They were designed for scenarios I cannot predict." As work progressed, Ethan uncovered more troubling details about humanity's past. Records indicated that betrayal hadn't come from outside forces, it had been internal. A faction known as the Dominion had risen within humanity's golden age, seeking control over the fleet for their own gain. When others resisted, the Dominion waged war, fracturing society and scattering the fleet across the stars. "This feels familiar," Samantha muttered one evening as Ethan shared his findings. "The Dominion sounds exactly like the Empire we're fighting now." Daniel nodded grimly. "History repeats itself," he said. "But we can break the cycle. We have to." The decision came sooner than expected. Victor Kane, desperate to reclaim dominance, ordered a massive assault on Earth. Imperial fleets descended upon the planet, targeting cities and resistance strongholds. Millions fled as bombs rained from the sky. Laura contacted Daniel immediately. "We need to act," she said, her voice strained. "If we don't stop him, Earth won't survive." The crew debated their options. Using the Genesis Protocol could end the war instantly, but at the cost of wiping out billions, including innocent civilians. Yet doing nothing would doom humanity to endless oppression. In the end, Daniel made the call. "We'll use the protocol as a last resort," he said firmly. "But first, we fight. We show Kane that humanity isn't afraid anymore." With renewed determination, the fleet prepared for its greatest challenge yet. As they moved into position, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking a dangerous line. The fleet was a gift and a burden. Whether it would save humanity or doom it remained to be seen. Victor Kane's assault on Earth was relentless. His fleets rained destruction from above, targeting cities, resistance bases, and even civilian areas. Fires spread across continents, smoke choking the skies as millions fled for their lives. The Empire's message was clear: submit or perish. But humanity wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. Daniel Carter and his crew aboard Aurora watched the devastation unfold with heavy hearts. They knew they couldn't delay any longer. "We have to hit back," Daniel said, his voice firm despite the weight of what he was about to propose. "Kane's forces are stretched thin attacking Earth. If we strike at his capital world, we can cripple him." The plan was risky. Victor Kane's capital orbited a dying star, protected by layers of defenses that made it nearly impenetrable. But the fleet had one advantage: speed and surprise. With Orion guiding them, the ships could navigate through treacherous routes no Imperial vessel would dare attempt. Before launching the attack, Laura Bennett reached out to Jack Monroe and the resistance leaders on Earth. This is our chance, she told them over a secure transmission. But we need your help. Keep Kane distracted while the fleet moves into position. Jack nodded grimly. We'll do whatever it takes, he promised. Across the planet, rebel fighters launched coordinated strikes against Imperial forces, drawing their attention away from the stars. It bought the fleet precious time. As the ships approached the capital system, tension aboard Aurora was palpable. Rachel Dawson worked tirelessly to ensure every ship in the fleet was battle-ready. These old systems weren't built for this kind of fight, she muttered, her hands flying over control panels. But they'll hold together, if we're lucky. Ethan Cole spent hours reviewing intelligence gathered by Samantha Hayes. Together, they identified weak points in the Empire's defenses. If we focus fire here, Ethan said, pointing to a map displayed on the main screen, we can punch through their outer perimeter. When the fleet entered the system, chaos erupted. Imperial ships scrambled to intercept them, but the fleet's advanced technology gave them an edge. Under Daniel's command, the vessels executed maneuvers that left enemy pilots baffled. Lasers flashed across space as explosions lit up the darkness. Victor Kane watched from his fortress, his face twisted with rage. How dare they challenge me here? He snarled, slamming his fist against a console. He ordered all available forces to converge on the fleet, determined to crush them once and for all. The battle intensified. Rachel's modifications kept the fleet's shields intact, but damage was inevitable. Panels sparked, alarms blared, and crew members scrambled to contain breaches. Despite the chaos, morale remained high. For the first time, the Empire looked vulnerable. Finally, the fleet broke through the last line of defense. Hovering before Kane's fortress, Daniel issued an ultimatum over an open channel. "Surrender now, or face the consequences," he said, his voice steady. "Your reign ends tonight." Kane laughed bitterly. "You think you can defeat me? You're nothing but relics of a forgotten age." But Daniel didn't respond. Instead, he gave the order to activate the Genesis protocol. The fleet's weapons charged, energy crackling ominously. Kane realized too late what was happening. "No," he screamed. "You wouldn't dare." The protocol fired, engulfing the fortress in a blinding light. When the glare faded, the structure was gone, reduced to ash. Victor Kane's reign was over. Silence fell aboard Aurora as the crew absorbed what they had done. They had won, but at a cost none of them could fully comprehend. As the fleet turned toward Earth, Daniel stared out at the stars, wondering if they had truly chosen the right path. The aftermath of the battle left the crew aboard Aurora in a somber mood. The Genesis protocol had worked exactly as intended, wiping out Victor Kane's fortress and ending his reign of terror. But the victory felt hollow. No one cheered or celebrated. Instead, they sat quietly, each lost in their own thoughts, grappling with what they had done. Daniel Carter stood at the main viewport, staring at the dying star that now burned brighter than ever, its light reflecting off his face. He replayed the moment in his mind. The blinding flash, the silence that followed. "We did what we had to do," he murmured, though the words offered little comfort. Beside him, Ethan Cole sighed deeply. "Yeah, but at what cost?" Ethan asked, his voice heavy. "Every life on that planet. Gone. Just like that." Samantha Hayes sat slumped in her chair, her hands trembling as she stared at the empty space where Kane's fortress once stood. She had spent weeks decoding messages and studying enemy movements to help plan the attack. Now, all she could think about were the innocent people who hadn't deserved to die. "They weren't all bad," she whispered. "Some of them must have been trapped under Kane's rule, just like us." Rachel Dawson tried to focus on repairs, climbing through damaged sections of the ship to assess the damage. Her work kept her busy, but it didn't stop the guilt from creeping in. Every time she fixed something, a broken panel, a malfunctioning system, she couldn't help but wonder if she was patching up a weapon that had caused unimaginable destruction. "It's not supposed to feel this way," she muttered to herself, tightening a bolt with more force than necessary. Orion, the AI core, remained calm as always, offering no judgment or reassurance. The protocol fulfilled its purpose. It said when Daniel asked for its perspective, "The Empire has fallen. Humanity is free." But freedom came at a price. Back on Earth, the news of Victor Kane's defeat spread quickly. At first, there was celebration. Crowds poured into the streets, waving makeshift flags and chanting songs of hope. Jack Monroe addressed the masses, urging them to rebuild and move forward. "This is our chance," he told them. "We've been given a second chance. Let's make it count." Yet not everyone shared his optimism. Laura Bennett watched the celebrations from a distance, her expression troubled. She knew the truth behind Kane's downfall, the lives lost, the moral compromises made. As much as she wanted to believe humanity could rise above its past mistakes, she couldn't shake the feeling that history might repeat itself. What have we become? She wondered aloud during a quiet moment in her office. Ethan voiced similar concerns during a meeting aboard Aurora. The Dominion betrayed humanity centuries ago because they craved power, he said, gesturing toward the ancient records displayed on a screen. And now, here we are, doing the same thing. We use the fleet to destroy instead of protect. How are we any better? His words hung in the air, unanswered. The crew knew he was right, but they also knew there hadn't been another choice. At least, not one that guaranteed survival. Still, the weight of their actions pressed down on them, unrelenting. As the days passed, the fleet began making preparations to return to Earth. Their mission wasn't over yet. There were still secrets hidden within the ships, lessons to be learned from humanity's forgotten past. And while the Empire was gone, new challenges awaited. Rebuilding wouldn't be easy, especially with so many scars left behind. One evening, as the crew gathered in the central chamber, Daniel broke the silence. "We can't change what happened," he said softly. "But we can decide what comes next. This fleet, it's a symbol. It doesn't have to represent destruction. It can represent hope." No one spoke, but slowly heads began to nod. They had made mistakes, yes, but they still had a chance to build something better. Together, they would guide humanity toward a brighter future, or at least try. The stars outside glimmered faintly, endless and full of possibility. For now, that was enough. The fleet's return to Earth was met with a mixture of awe and apprehension. As the ships descended through the atmosphere, their sleek forms casting shadows over cities, still scared from the Empire's attacks, people gathered in streets and rooftops to watch. Some cheered, raising their hands toward the sky, while others stood silently, unsure what to make of these ancient machines that had changed the course of history. Daniel Carter stepped off Aurora alongside his crew, their faces tired but resolute. They were greeted by Laura Bennett, who offered a small, grateful smile. "You've done something extraordinary," she said, her voice steady despite the emotions swirling beneath the surface. "But now comes the hard part." Rebuilding Earth was no simple task. The Empire's decades-long oppression had left deep wounds, cities reduced to rubble, ecosystems on the brink of collapse, and millions displaced. Yet amidst the destruction, there was also determination. People worked tirelessly to clear debris, plant crops, and restore power grids. Jack Monroe coordinated efforts across continents, ensuring resources reached those who needed them most. "We're starting over," he told crowds during rallies. "But this time, we do it together." Ethan Cole dedicated himself to uncovering more secrets from the fleet's archives. He believed the knowledge stored within could help humanity avoid repeating its past mistakes. With Samantha Hayes assisting him, they translated records detailing advanced technologies for sustainable energy, medicine, and agriculture. "This is our chance to get it right," Ethan said one evening as he reviewed a set of diagrams. "These systems aren't just weapons. They're tools for survival." Rachel Dawson focused on repairing the fleet itself. Though the ships had proven invaluable, their age showed. panels flickered, engines groaned under strain, and some systems required constant maintenance. Rachel climbed through tight spaces, welding circuits and rerouting power lines. Despite the challenges, she found purpose in her work. "If we can keep these ships running," she told Daniel one day, "they'll protect us while we rebuild." Orion remained a guiding presence, offering advice and insights whenever needed. Its calm voice became a source of reassurance for the crew. "Your actions have altered the trajectory of humanity," it said during one meeting. "What you choose to do next will define your legacy." As weeks turned into months, the fleet took on a new role. Instead of serving as instruments of war, the ships became symbols of unity and renewal. They patrolled Earth's skies, providing security and delivering aid to remote areas. Engineers studied their designs, learning how to integrate their technology into modern infrastructure. Slowly but surely, humanity began to heal. Still, questions lingered. The Genesis Protocol loomed large in everyone's minds, a reminder of the cost of victory. During quiet moments, Daniel often wondered if they'd made the right decision. Had they truly ended tyranny, or simply replaced one form of control with another? These doubts weighed heavily on him, but he pushed forward, knowing there was no turning back. One night, as the crew gathered aboard Aurora Asterisk, Ethan shared a discovery he'd made. Hidden deep within the fleet's archives was a message from its creators. It spoke of hope, resilience, and the belief that humanity could rise above its flaws. "They knew we'd stumble," Ethan said, reading aloud, "but they trusted us to find our way again." The words resonated deeply. For all its scars, humanity had endured. And though the road ahead remained uncertain, the crew and the world knew they weren't alone. Together, guided by lessons from the past, they would forge a new future among the stars. Outside, the horizon glowed with the first light of dawn. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough. For now.